You've got a creator completely, absolutely, undeniably in the tank for a certain manufacturer. Can you trust said creator? Let's discuss. Hey there, friends on YouTube. My name's Jason, sometimes known as the JTL. This is Painfully Honest Tech. Tech so honest it hurts. Sunday. We have today an interesting case of a tech YouTuber absolutely, completely, and unabashedly in the tank for a certain single manufacturer. Most tech YouTubers go out of their way to tell you they're fair and balanced, and they're not, they have no opinions and blah, blah, blah. And most of those tech YouTubers are mind-numbingly boring. Not so with Drew, the face of Tailosive Tech. When he first started Tailosive, he ran it more like a traditional review channel, but when he made the transition to bringing an Apple-centric thing to the mix, that in and of itself was somewhat unique in the way that he brings it across, and he's seen intense growth since that time. So much of success is predicated on finding your way to be different than other people, and having the courage to sort of turn and go down that path. That ability is rare to do something different, even more so in someone who wasn't out of his teens when the opportunity came. That's also where I think he may run into his first challenge. How many times can you ring the same bell before people stop listening? A lot of Drew's content is smart and funny, and he takes his role as chief Apple sheep with just enough humor to leave the door open for non-Apple sheep to enter the barn. But Drew himself has acknowledged that there's some kind of schism in his follower base. There are those folks who love having an Apple-centric channel that they can enjoy on YouTube, and it's irreverent and it's funny and it's a little edgy at times. And those folks may not be the people who are willing to go to the mattresses for Apple day after day after day. But there's also a group in there that routinely wants blood. They want to see Drew go hard on anyone who might question Apple. Their fervor for the fruit is such that Drew may feel pressure to lose his objectivity and become that rabid Apple sheep who caters to that easy audience. We've seen a glimpse of Drew kind of maybe going over to that dark side at times, most recently in his reaction video to Linus Tech Tips quandary with his broken iMac Pro. In that video, I just don't think it was completely well thought out, and the piece saw more thumbs down, I think, than Drew had probably seen before for his content. To his credit, he came back a few days later with a solid explainer video where he also admitted that he may have gone too far at times with the humor, and that video was well conceived and well executed. He explained himself and his points a little bit better, more calmly, and the result was a really good addition to that conversation. But that brings us back around to the question, can you trust Tailosive Tech? Because the channel skews so dramatically, almost to the point of parody at times, to one side, we have to consider the question differently. Tailosive Tech is not a one-stop shop for all things tech, sort of bland, boring, bloody, blah, blah, blah. It has a hefty bias. Drew himself admits that bias, and that's an integral part of why the channel works. And as long as you know that that bias exists and that you can calibrate your own reaction to it, I think everything's fine. And for that reason, I say, yes, you can trust Tailosive Tech as long as you venture into the world of Tailosiveness, knowing that it's not a typical tech channel. He has a bias, he's very entertaining, and if that's not for you, then I do worry sometimes about the sustainability of the current Tailosive model. Drew does like to sort of pluck at the nose hairs of those on the other side of the fence, and that's part of what makes this channel really fun to watch. But is it sustainable for years to come? Likely not, at least in its current form, and Tailosive's going to have to grow and adapt along the way. Drew probably knows this. He was able to recognize the opportunities that he had when other people might not have. And when you have the balls to come out and admit that you're a fanboy of any company and you base your content around that, the slope is a little more slippery than it might be for one of those more middle-of-the-road kind of channels. I, for one, would like to see him balance out his super pro Apple coverage. Apple Pro coverage? I don't know what I'm talking about. super pro Apple coverage with a series of videos that explores his criticisms of Apple, also to balance his channel out even more. Thanks so much for being here. I really do appreciate it. If this was your first time here, please consider liking and subscribing. There are going to be more of these Can You Trust videos coming out over the course of the next however long. And I'd love to see you come back. If you've been here before, if you've been with me for a while, then I really do appreciate the support. Again, my name's Jason, sometimes known as the JTL. This is Painfully Honest Tech. Tech so honest it hurts. Until the next time, I'm out.